Hi, it's me again, Pamela Brown. And for those of you that don't know me, I help emerging professional Black women liberate themselves from oppressive environments that undermine their ability to thrive like the women that they really are. And today I want to talk about taking your power back. So if you are a woman, a Black woman, who's in an environment, you're intelligent, you're powerful, you're confident, you know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about, but you're in an environment where you're always having to watch over your back. You're always having to worry about who's going back to the managers or directors or whatever, telling them some lies on you. If you're always having to check yourself, you can't be who you are. You can't be the Black woman you are, but you have to be who they want you to be, which is a dim version of who you really are. Then this video is for you today. And today I want to talk about my top 15 ways to take your power back, even if you are in a hostile environment. Because the truth is, you're not meant to be able to take on that kind of stress. It's already enough that you deal with life. You know, you deal with marriage, you deal with death in the family, you deal with births, you deal with financial problems. But when you have to do all of that while being Black, that's something different. So I want to talk about my top 15 ways when I was in that, what I call the economic war zone, the corporate plantation, when I was on that and what I had to do to reclaim my power so that I could move forward and do what it was that I had to do to get out of there. So these are liberation techniques in a way, and I want to share those with you. I got notes, so if you see me looking down, it's because I got my notes and I don't want to forget my tips that I'm trying to share with you. So one of the first steps I took to reclaim my power in a hostile environment was to stop depending on other people for validation and approval. So from birth and in school, we're trained to care about what the teachers say about us. We're trained to care about what parents say about us. We're trained to care about what preachers say about us. We're trained to care about what everybody say about us except what we say about ourselves. So when you get into these workspaces where you're not validated as a Black woman or, Black man, if you're listening, life can get painful because no matter what you do and how you do it, they're not going to see that. They're going to see what they want to see, which is evidence of you being lazy, evidence of you being no good, flawed, bad attitude, whatever it is they want to see. So when I started claiming my power back by telling myself each and every day what I did well, also what I could improve upon, but mostly what I did well, what I liked about myself, and I picked any every little thing about liking to pick shells, liking to be in nature, or I'm a good teacher. I know the information I teach, and I teach very well. I found whatever it was I needed to validate and approve of myself. Approve of the good, approve of the bad, approve of the ugly, approve of all of it. And the more you do that, the more you love yourself. The more you love yourself, the less you care about what they say or do to you or about you. That's one way to claim your power. Another way is that I started being myself. No matter what, I stopped caring about what they thought about me. And I started being the direct, intelligent, to myself. I only talk to people I feel safe talking to kind of person that I really am. I started being more observant. I started laughing when I wanted to be loud and crazy, whatever I was. I didn't try to maintain some kind of certain demeanor just to please them. Another way to claim your power, because when you can't be yourself, what happens is that it's like a soul murder that happens. You die spiritually when you can't be yourself. And even when you're not yourself, even when you try to be who they want you to be and they still do all over you, that's even worse. So I would rather be myself and do what it is I'm going to do and have fun and be who I am and get doo-dooed on than to not be who I am, and the same thing happened to me, and I'm feeling crazy because I'm trying to do what you want me to do, and it's just not good enough for you. So another way to take your power back is to be yourself, no matter what. Accept yourself. Third way I took my power back was I learned how to identify the enemy and possible enemies, and I cut off communication with them. So when I say cut off communication, it was hi, how are you doing? Okay, I'm moving on. Have a great day. I didn't tell them any of my business. I didn't tell them any endeavors I was up to, any of my goals. I didn't tell them anything about my family, because what I was finding out was that they were going to my manager. They were telling my manager this information, and he would come back and use it against me in annuals. He would come back and use it against me when he wanted to write me up. Just petty, stupid stuff. So I had to learn how to identify the enemy. We've been taught to love our enemies and pray for them, but you must know how to identify your enemy. Identify those that want to take you down. Identify those who you know keep stabbing you in the back. If you keep befriending someone who keeps stabbing you in the back, that keeps going to the manager or director or to other coworkers and spreading your business, and you know they're talking about you, that's your fault. Identify the enemy. And it will save you a lot of trouble, even though he made something out of that too. I was having an attitude problem. I wasn't being engaging. What I was doing was protecting myself. What I was doing was setting boundaries. And what you get from that is dignity, self-respect, self-importance, self-value. You start to value yourself when you start learning how to protect yourself. And that's all it is protection. It's not about being evil. It's not about being stuck up. It's protection. But still yet I was able to identify the people that were on my side. The people that, well, maybe not necessarily on my side, but I knew they weren't going to be spreading my business all over the place. And I still didn't even tell them everything, just enough to not be isolated in a hostile environment. The fourth strategy, I got focused on creating my own path instead of hoping that they would help me. So when you go into these workspaces, we're hard workers. We want to succeed. We want to provide for our families. We want our families to be proud of us. We go into these workspaces with the belief in the American dream that you can move up. You could be anything you want to be, yada, yada, yada. However, when you run into people who have historically enslaved you, oppressed you, don't like you simply because of your skin color, it's harder to do. Even when you bend over backwards and be who they want you to be, harder to do. So if I wanted the freedom, money, time freedom, expression freedom, movement freedom, the leeway to do things my own way, I knew that, and to be stress-free, as stress-free as possible, because even though you experience this stuff everywhere in life, you don't have to experience it in your work. You can have at least 8 to 10 hours free of stress, free of that kind of racial hostile stress each day. So I knew that I had to create my own path. I knew that business would be the way for me to go. And there's several other ways to do it. You could find jobs where you have the leeway to do things your own way. It's like an entrepreneur kind of thing. There's also workspaces that may be conducive to your well-being and happiness. But business for me was it. The answer for me was business. And what I had to do was develop the courage to stand on my own 2 feet. That's one of the reasons I decided to go the job route anyway. I didn't have the confidence to do that. I didn't have the confidence to believe in myself that I had the power within me to generate my own income. I didn't understand how money works and how money comes to you and everything. But now that I have that understanding, I know I do have the power within me to generate, to create my own income, to create my own freedom. And that's what it's all about. Freedom is your birthright. If you're not free, you're denying your birthright. Another strategy was self-forgiveness. I had to forgive myself for all the decisions that I made to be where I was. We're taught to go to school, get a job, get the house, get the partner, get the kids, the 2 pets, white picket fence, retire and die. We're taught to live their life, but we're not taught anything else like business, other options to create that life that you want. I had to forgive myself because what happened was that I got the master's degree. I was able to get the job I wanted. That was my dream job. And come to find out, I'm in the lion's den. And I'm not making that great of money like I thought I would be. The work isn't what I thought it would be. And I'm dealing with people that don't like me, that I can, I'm empathic, which means I can feel people's vibes. I can feel people's energy. You don't have to say how you're feeling. I can feel how you're feeling. And so when you're in an environment like that and it's toxic, it's deep, it's thick, it can weigh on you to where you feel angry, you feel frustrated all the time, and you feel toxic, and you act it out because you don't know what to do with it. You're not used to it. I had to forgive myself for putting myself in that situation. Every decision I made got me in that situation. But eventually I learned, as I forgave myself, I learned to love myself, accept myself, and I started to understand that I can make different decisions to get out of that situation. You're never stuck. And once you believe you're stuck until you undo that belief that you're free. I can move wherever I want to move. Even if I quit this job today, I may not have enough money saved up, but I am free to quit anytime I get ready. I am free to walk out this job anytime I get ready. It's not mandatory for me to stay here. I had to learn how to forgive myself so that I can get that freedom of thought in my psyche. I also stopped trying to prove myself by going over and beyond. And there's something at the Huntsville Hospital where they teach you to give them the pickle, which means to do your job and give a little extra. And when it came to doing specific job duties, I was going over and beyond because I wanted to raise, I wanted to move up, I wanted to be liked, I wanted to show that I'm a hard worker. I'm not lazy, They didn't see any of that. They didn't value my gifts. They didn't value me as a Black woman. So what I had to do was say, I'm just doing my job, and everything extra, let it go. Just make sure I do my job. Therefore, they can't fire me for not doing my job. And that's exactly what I did. They didn't like it, of course. But I liked it because what it did for me was that it allowed me to take my energy back. For women, as women, we are receptors. Men are givers. Women are receivers. When we give and give and give and give and give, and we don't receive twofold, tenfold, or whatever, we become empty, we become burnt out, and as a result, we become angry, we become ill, we can't be there. If we have a significant other, we can't fully be there for them, we can't fully be there for the children, we're more likely to snap on our children and our partner and everything. So I had to learn how to start giving back to me, how to stop putting all my energy out there and giving and receiving nothing back. And that's how I was able to reclaim some of my power so that I can focus on my true purpose, life path, so I can get out of there. It's all about liberating yourself from oppressive environments. I learned about racism, what it is and how it works. And that was actual spiritual guidance. I had to learn what racism was. Racism is a system. It's not an attitude with like bigotry or discrimination. It is a system, a global system based on wealth and power. But I also learned that what holds up that system is a consciousness, it's an awareness, it's a mindset of the oppressor and the oppressed. And what I learned eventually was that as long as I maintain an oppressive identity, because according to universal law, if you heard of it before, law of attraction, like attracts like, as long as I kept believing what they believed about me, I was going to stay stuck there. It's all about energy, frequency, and vibration. So as long as I kept seeing myself as an inferior being, as long as I kept seeing myself separate from God, which is an indicator that you see yourself as inferior, I will always be stuck there. So I had to learn how to reclaim my own divinity, my connection to the Creator, because I am an emanation of the Creator. Once I started doing that, they helped with the self-love, and self-love leads to power. And I was able to stand more boldly because I realized that God is in me. They can't do anything to me. Even if they abuse their power to fire me, I'm still okay. I can still find ways to make money. I don't need them. Need God, don't need them though. God is in me. But with learning about racism, once you learn how the system works, how they think, then you can create solutions to liberate yourself. That's what it's about, creating solutions to get around that mess. Another strategy, the eighth strategy, every life battle is a mind battle. And that goes back to the consciousness. I realized that these disempowering experiences, the way life works is that you always want to, the life is set up for you to be in your natural state, which is God personified. Your connection to God should be strong and pure. And what makes it impure are the disempowering thoughts, beliefs, and emotions that you harbor from lies you've been told about yourself and about other people. And so what I learned was that you attract disempowering people and experiences into your life so that you can release those emotions, so that you can release those beliefs. And once you release those, they go away, or the experience goes away. You elevate yourself. You're able to grow and develop into the person you're meant to be, a higher level. And so if you're on the job and you're attracting these angry experiences, ask yourself, am I harboring anger? Is there some anger that I need to learn how to release, transmute, or heal? When an experience happens to you and you feel devalued, are you valuing yourself? Do you know what value you bring to your life, people's lives, and your job? If you attract an experience that makes you feel less than worthy, what about me that I believe I'm not worthy? Do I really believe I'm not worthy? If so, I need to understand when it comes to worthiness, that's already inborn. Your worthiness comes from God, the God in you, the truth of who you are. And so once you accept that worthiness, everything else kind of falls into place. You're able to create better boundaries. You're able to, and you don't feel bad about it. You don't feel bad about shutting people out of your life because you know you're worth that. You know that you don't have to keep accepting abuse after abuse after abuse. And so even though this is maybe hard to do when you're in a workspace, you have to. If you want to be happy, you have to learn to love yourself and protect yourself, stand for yourself no matter what happens. But everything will fall into place because once you learn how to love yourself and set those boundaries, you start attracting better things into your life. You're positioning yourself to receive better. So every life battle is a mind battle, which leads to my number 9 strategy is working on emotional empowerment. Working on releasing anger, shame, guilt, working on transmuting anger. Anger is actually a power emotion. You're supposed to do something with anger. It's a physical emotion. So if you can learn how to transmute anger to passion, to courage, and up to love for yourself and love for the people that you're here to help, then you're doing good. That's what empowerment is all about, using those emotions. Shame is on the lowest level. And then fear is a little higher. Right above fear is desire. And a little bit above that is anger. So anger is actually a higher energy than desire. And then you move up to courage, passion, pride, love is the highest. So learning how to work with emotions was a big thing for me. Because like I said before, everything in this world is energy, frequency, vibration. Emotions are energy. And racism is a low energy system. It's based in fear. And so if you can release fear, release hatred, release sorrow, and rise above the anger, then you can release yourself from those situations and you can actually create a ripple effect in the world to where for your children's children, basically, things would get better. It has to start with you, with breaking those generational curses, with breaking disempowering emotional and belief patterns that are holding you down right now. The next strategy, I think I talked about this before, I stopped caring about what they did and or what they thought about me, and I let them know it. Basically, you think I have a bad attitude? Fine. I know why you think I have a bad attitude. It's because I carry myself with confidence and respect. It's because I have a little worth about myself. It's because I'm intelligent. I know it. I don't walk around with my head held down. I don't try to force conversations with people I know don't want to talk to me. I do speak to you. I do say a few words to you. That's all that's required. I communicate with you to get the job done. I don't have to be your friend. I don't have to be cordial with you because you don't like me. Why would I be cordial with you? And so if that's attitude, fine. But I didn't care what they thought anymore. I didn't care what they did. Especially as you build more power in your life, the more power that you build for yourself, whether it's through a spending plan, whether it's through creating more money for yourself, or whether it's feeling powerful within, the less you care about what they do. It's just how it is. You get mad at what they do because you feel powerless to change it. But once you know you have the power to change a situation, you don't care. You're moving on. You're moving forward. The next strategy, I adopted spiritual beliefs that served me well and released others that disempowered me. I had to stop thinking badly about myself. I had to stop thinking that I was flawed. I had to stop thinking that I was on my way to hell. I had to stop thinking those things and remember that God, I am created in the image of God. God lives in me. That means I'm powerful. I have God power in me. And because of God power, I have innate worthiness, divine perfection. I had to reorient myself to a whole new world view of how I looked at myself. So that, because what makes this important is that if you don't believe you're worthy, if you believe that you're full of sin, then what happens is that you won't allow good things. You won't attract good things. You actually attract things that make you feel more sinful. You attract things that make you feel worse about yourself. And so when you start to know that you're worthy just because you're a child of God, when you start to really understand that, then you start to allow good to come to you. You start believing you can't treat me like that. You don't, and it doesn't matter who it is. You can't, if you're being treated in a less than divine manner, you're able to say, you can't treat me like that. I don't deserve to be treated like that. I won't be treated like that. You're able to walk to earth as a queen and king that you are when you start to know your worth. And when you start to know that you do have control over what you believe, what you think, and what you feel about yourself, you have control over your destiny. You have control over what kind of freedom you create. You have control over who you allow into your life. You have control over how you respond to how people treat you. Not necessarily how people treat you, but how you respond to that. And usually how you respond to that transforms the situation. And so when you adopt those spiritual beliefs that empower you, that make you feel as if you are created in the image of God, that's when you start to notice really true power. And you are meant to be powerful. If you're created in the image of God, if God creates good and perfect things, you're meant to feel powerful. You're meant to feel powerful, especially against people who seek to destroy you or abuse you in some way. That's how you gain your power, when you understand God's in you and you can go within and listen to instruction and do it. Who better to listen to instruction to than from the God that's in you? Okay. The next strategy was that I discovered the art of surrender. I stopped trying to fight, because I am a fighter. I used to be an athlete, basketball player, post player. My strength was aggression. I wasn't as tall as most girls, but I was strong. I was aggressive. I didn't mind fighting. Still don't mind fighting. But when you understand that you're not fighting people, you're fighting with what we've been taught to call a principality. You're fighting a consciousness. You're fighting energy. It's a spiritual warfare. And you fight spirit with spirit. That's why you have to really check your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions, because if you believe what they believe about you, you're not going to win. You got to start believing something different about yourself if you want to win a war with hostile people. And so when I discovered the power of surrender, I actually discovered my power as a woman. When you surrender, you go within, you listen to instruction, and you execute. And as I started learning how to do that, things started getting better. Even though they were still hostile toward me, it got to the point where I could navigate their space better. And I noticed the toxicity lessened. It didn't go away, but it did lessen because you're dealing with hostile people, But it's all about making your world better. It's all about making your life better. It's all about getting your energy and your power back. Surrendering helped me to get my power back because I quit trying to fight a masculine person with masculine energy. My body's not created to do that. My body's created for feminine energy. I was able to oppose him. Where he pushed, I pulled, even though there was still times where I failed and I had to learn the lesson, because it is a relearning process. I had to learn, but I learned. Um, the next strategy, the 13th strategy, creating a spending plan. So stop spending your money on things that are frivolous, extra. When you're trying to liberate yourself, you need something to fall back on, because as you reclaim your power, they don't like that. So they're going to find ways to either try to push you out, or they're just going to terminate you altogether. Period. It's going to happen because they expect you to be docile. They expect you to be beaten down and accepted. They expect you to still act as if you're in the field somewhere or in the home, in the master's home. They still expect you to act like that, to show up like that. So as you claim your power, which is your birthright, your power is your birthright. Your power is your birthright. Then you need to make sure you have things set in place to where when you get released, because you will get released, because you're not a vibrational match, you will get released, you'll be okay. And you don't want to quit. You actually want them to terminate you so that you can get your severance and your unemployment and whatever else. You want to get everything you can out of that situation, and you deserve to. The next strategy is raising your energetic vibration, especially feeling abundant and feeling free. No matter what situation you're in, you're still royal. You're still spiritual royalty. You're an emanation of God, so you're spiritual royalty. The truth of who you are is abundant and free. However, you may be in a situation where you feel neither. And that's because you were feeling poor, impoverished, and in bondage before you got into this situation. That's why you attracted it. That's why you ended up there. Everything is a match. If you're not a match for a crackhead, you're not going to go for a crackhead. This is how it works. Like attracts like, according to energy, frequency, and vibration. And so what I had learned to do, and it took some work. Every morning before I went into work, I would sit and meditate, and I would picture myself having more than enough of something. And I would picture myself having more than enough money. I would picture myself even having more than enough underwear. I would picture myself having more than enough towels, more than enough of whatever, abundance. And I would picture and I would feel into that. How did that feel to me? How does it feel for me to have more than enough? And I will hold that vibration. I will also picture how it is to be free, how it is for me to be traveling the world with my business, doing the work I love to do, being free. And then I remembered that vibration. So when I got to work and I would start to get tense because I was dealing with idiots, when I started feeling in bondage, when I started feeling like poor and I'm trapped, I would literally go into the ladies' restroom where I knew people wouldn't come looking for me. I would get into a stall, and I would literally go back to that vibration of abundance and freedom. And I started learning how to maintain and hold that vibration. Even when I was doing jobs I didn't want to do, I would learn how to feel abundant and free in that moment. The power of being a woman, being in the feminine, being present. I would do that, and it would get me through. Things would shift. I would go on by my day, but I had to learn how to hold that energy more and more and more, because I understood by then that if I hold that energy, I can get released from this situation. I can get released. I wouldn't have to quit or anything, because that's how it works. That's how spiritual law works. Last strategy. I exposed the truth of what was happening. And I'm going to talk about this in a separate post, but it was so much BS going on in the job. My manager had his white co-workers to watch me doing my job, to report back to him. Of course, they were going back and lying. They didn't want me there. And some of them I even wanted my job. And he was using that to write me up. I wrote a blog post about it. And I was smart about it. I knew the rules. I knew not to use the organization's name. I knew not to use employees' names. But apparently he knew who I was talking about when my coworker found out I had a website. I guess she got mad about that. Went and found an article and sent it to my manager. And he held on to that anger for a year. And he used it on my annual to prevent me from getting a raise. That's how they punish you. And it didn't really bother me because I got to him. but he couldn't really get rid of me because I didn't break any rules. He didn't know who I was talking about, but he had a good feeling who I was talking about. I didn't use any names and stuff. But I guess the post was so specific and so well written, he knew who I was talking about without me saying who I was talking about. And that helped with him bagging off of me. They don't like when the truth is exposed. And even though you may get punished, they abuse their power every day. And they can punish you through pay. They can punish you through firing you and stuff. But what I left was with my dignity and my pride intact. What I left with was my respect and knowing that any little thing can help sometimes when you're trying to protect yourself and empower yourself. So those are my top 15 strategies on reclaiming your power in a hostile environment. Because it's possible, you have to. If you want to be released from it, you can quit. Of course you can quit. But if you are like me and while in this hostile environment, you didn't know what it was you wanted to do. You was having an identity crisis like I was. I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't know what it was I wanted to do with my life. I got into this place. I really don't like fitness like I thought I would. I had to figure a lot of things out. So in the meantime, you have to do things in the moment to build your power up so that you can have the power to change your life, so that you can have the power to move forward. That's what I had to do. And that's where those of you that feel trapped, that aren't exactly knowing what you want to do and how to get out, you need this. You need to know how to get your power back, even in a hostile environment, and still thrive and survive. It's like the monk on Kung Fu, The Legend Continues. He was always around hostile people. He was in a hostile environment, but he was able to thrive in that environment because he had a philosophy and a spirituality that enabled him to do so. And so once you create that, you're able to have the power to go wherever you want, to move forward, to do what you have to do to empower our communities, to protect our kids, whatever it is. So it begins here. It begins in the mind. It begins in the spirit also, mind and spirit working together. And so if you're in a situation now where you feel powerless, but you're ready to change, then I am offering complimentary 30-minute Activate Your Queen DNA breakthrough sessions where we'll sit down together and we'll discuss where you are and how we can move forward together. There's no obligation for this, and this opportunity is only for those serious queens who are ready to live in that power and authority, who are ready to really claim their queendom and have their freedom and that power they know that deep down you deserve. So again, Activate Your Queen DNA breakthrough session. The link is in the description of this live video. But the link to get to it is www.businessqueenunlimited.com/coaching-application, and you'll see it. Also, if you want more one-on-one attention with me, and it's free, join my Facebook group Emerging Nubian Queen. If you're not open-minded spiritually, then you may not like that group. That's the only thing I can say. But other than that, I would love to have you. You can ask questions. You can share your thoughts, share your feelings, and we can support each other. So Emerging Nubian Queen, if you type that in, you'll find a group. There's some questions you have to answer to gain access to the group. So Activate Your Queen DNA breakthrough session and the Emerging Nubian Queen Facebook group. Until next time, I hope you have a magnificent, wonderful Saturday. It's so beautiful outside. Get out and enjoy it, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.